Hi guys, welcome to Preventing the Dreaded Dowager's Hump Part 2. This part is strictly a flow, so just stretches to help you prevent forward posture, to open everything up, to hit those spots that are directly related to the problem, and also the structures further out that tend to add to the problem and compound there. And someone's snow blowing outside, so hopefully you guys can still hear me. I'll try and talk loud. So for this flow, you just need like a mat or a blanket down with you. If you've got yoga blocks, I would highly recommend using them, 2 of them if you've got them handy. If not, a foam roller would work, or a bolster, or a folded up yoga mat or towel would be okay, but one of those would be preferable. This is good to have handy even if you do have yoga blocks. So I think that's kind of everything we need. We don't need much for this one, and a coffee to stay awake. So we're gonna start with some neck work. So go ahead and sit comfortably. If you need a folded towel underneath to have you sit tall, then do that. You're gonna sit with your legs crossed, start with your head looking up, and we're gonna make circles with our head to start with. So you're gonna tuck the chin, nice and slow, roll the ear towards the shoulder. So we're starting these circles small and then we'll work our way bigger. As you come back, make sure not to drop your head back into extension. It helps if you use your eyes to look up towards the ceiling to keep you from going too far back. And around and down. And then you're gonna repeat at your own pace, but make it slow. So again, be very mindful not to drop your head into hyperextension, especially if you have had whiplash or a concussion. You want to be really gentle with neck work. Neck work is very neurological, and if you've already had trauma there, your muscles will have a tendency to tighten up preemptively to protect you because they expect trauma. And then switch directions, roll, come back around, down, and roll. Again, look to the ceiling so that you're not dropping too far. And roll. Good, we'll do a couple more here. So we're just getting the neck nice and warmed up before we stretch. We'll do one more. Nice and easy. There you go. Good, just let your head float back up to the top. So we are going to start with the anterior neck, which is probably one of the biggest players in forward head posture. When we start to round forward like this, these muscles tend to shut off. They need to be strengthened and stretched as well. So you're going to take your hands, cross them, lift the elbows up, place the fingertips on top of the collarbone, and then you're just going to drop the elbows down, which will gently pin the collarbone down. You don't want to necessarily pull hard on it, but just to keep it in place. And then I want you to think of your chin like a kite, and you're gonna fly your kite up to the ceiling in a zigzag pattern. So that prevents you, again, from dropping that head straight back and then causing everything to tense up because your head is unsupported. So you're just going to, nice and slow, float your chin up towards the ceiling, only as far as you feel comfortable. Again, not too far back, so use your eyes to look to the ceiling. And when you're kind of up where you're comfortable, you're going to make little rainbow arcs with your chin, going side to side. Good. You can even look over the shoulder a little bit to really get those front structures nice and slow. This needs a lot of work. This area tends to be ignored. We usually focus on the back of the neck because that's typically where we feel tightness and pain, but the problem lies usually in the front. So we're gonna go ahead and add on a little bit. If you've got like TMJ or anything like that, this can be helpful. You're just gonna open and close your mouth, like you're taking a bite out of something, and do it in every direction. It looks silly, but it doesn't matter because we're all at home. Just getting that jaw to move, and then jut that lower jaw forward and backward. Again, just trying to get a lot of movement there. Good. Couple more. Good, and then just float that chin back and forth a couple more times. Look over the shoulder. Good, and then when you're ready, you're gonna float that chin back down to where we started. Nice and easy. Facing forward, you can drop those hands from there. So that should help with this anterior part of the neck. That's something you should do every day. We're gonna get into the lateral sides of the neck. So pick a side, either side, doesn't matter which one. You're gonna pull that ear down to the shoulder. And then I'm gonna have you guys rock a little bit side to side if that's okay with you. If you've got vertigo or if it bothers you, then just stay static. The rocking, again, helps with that neurological component to down-regulate the nervous system. So it helps to relax so we can actually get into the neck. So as we're rocking here, you can start to shift your chin down towards the floor, like you're sniffing your armpit. And then up towards the ceiling, back down. To add on to this stretch, to make it a little bit deeper, you can take your hand, arm, and rest it on top of your head so you're not pulling. This is very light. It's just to add a little bit of weight. And then again, rotate that chin down, like you're smelling the armpit, and then up to the ceiling. Back down. And if you want an even deeper stretch, if it's comfortable, you're going to take your other hand, bring it back behind you, and kind of just sit on that hand, and then lean away from that shoulder. So again, it's really important if you have a really tight neck or if you've had trauma in your neck, not to go too deep in your neck stretches. So if it feels really intense, take this arm out, take this arm off. You want to be gentle with neck work, or it will have a rebound effect and you will get even tighter. So cranking yourself into these stretches if you're tight or if you've had trauma is not beneficial. Go nice and easy. Good. You can even circle your body a little bit. And then when you're ready, you're going to unweight your head first. So take that arm off, circle back around through the front and back up. And we're doing the same thing on the other side. So pulling that ear down towards the shoulder as we rock side to side. And again, this is where you decide if you want to add on to make it deeper. If this already feels like a lot to you, then skip all the arms and just start shifting that chin down towards the floor and up towards the ceiling. But if you're feeling okay, you feel like you could have a little bit more of a stretch in there, add that arm on top of the head. It's just resting. It's not pulling at all. Just resting, adding a tiny bit of weight. And shifting that chin up and down and finding where it feels maybe the tightest to you. And then for a deeper stretch, taking that other hand, tucking it underneath and leaning away. So again, this is just if it feels okay. If it's already pretty intense, leave the arm down and away. And you're circling. Play around with the angle, see what feels like it needs the most work to you, and stay there. Circle. Nice deep breaths. Make sure you're not holding your breath. If you find that you are holding your breath, you're going too deep into the stretch and you need to back off. Good. When you're ready, unweight the head first, circle through the center, float back up to the top. So now we're going to go to the back of the neck and down the spine. This is the part where people feel like they need the most work because it feels really tight up here, but you're already rounding forward, so we want to take you in the opposite direction. So I'm just going to breeze through this part because we do still need to stretch it, but it's not something I want you to focus on. I'd rather have you focus on the front. So go ahead and take your hands behind your head, and I want you to lift up with your hands to traction the spine. So think about lifting up nice and tall, elbows open, deep breath in. As you exhale, start to tuck the chin and bring the elbows in and rock again, side to side, floating gently down towards the floor. Now this is important. I only want you to go down as far as you feel comfortable, just so you feel a little bit of a pull. If you've got a disc issue, like a bulging disc or any kind of disc issue in general, this position can be very intense and can actually make the nerves really angry. So if you have a disc issue, stay up higher and just float back and forth. If you are okay to go down further, then go ahead, go down and just rock side to side, tucking that chin, pulling those elbows in, and breathing. So again, if you've got a disc issue, this is going to put a big strain on that. So back right out. Be very mindful. We'll just do a couple more passes. Again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. It's kind of the opposite direction we want to go in. And we'll start to float back up, but it does need a little bit of relief when you are so tight up in the shoulders. Good. Open wide and drop the arms down. So I just like to do a little recheck here. So a couple quick neck circles, just to see if it feels a little bit better and a little more loose. And hopefully it does. Perfect. We'll let our heads come back to the center. We're going to warm up the shoulders next. So take whichever shoulder you want to start with. Take those fingertips on top of the shoulder and you're going to circle the elbow forward, starting small. And then you're going to increase the size of your circles. So go nice and big. Nice big circles. And if that feels good, you can switch and go behind you, so reverse. Big circles behind. And if that feels okay, you can extend that arm fully and do nice big sweeps of the arm. Starting to open that chest as you go, so turning up top. You guys did this one in part 1 as thoracic mobility and a shoulder warm up here. Good, we'll switch to the other side. Fingertips to the top. Again, circle the elbow forward first. Do a couple small circles, make them a little bit bigger as you go. And then switch directions. Nice big circles back. And then you're going to extend that arm if it feels okay to you. So nice big sweeps here. And again, you can start to rotate the chest to get some T-spine mobility going. Big circles. Nice and easy here. circle. Good, we'll come right back to the center. You can kind of wiggle, shake it off. So we're going to try and open up the scapulas, wing the shoulder blades out a little bit. So you're going to take your arms up, bend the elbows, place one elbow inside of the other, and then you're going to, if you can, wrap your hands around so they're holding on. If you don't have this mobility, just use, you can use a strap or something like that, or you can just keep them here. So if you can grab on, grab on. And I'm going to turn to the side so you guys can see a little bit better what I'm doing here. So you've got your cross here, elbows crossed. You're going to push your elbows out away from your body to wing those scapulas. And then you're going to lift up towards the ceiling and down towards the floor in like a sawing motion, up and down, with those shoulder blades nice and open. Deep breaths. So actively pulling away from your body here to open those shoulder blades. Good, and then when you're ready, you're just going to switch the cross. So bring the other elbow in. Pull out away from your body actively, and then go up and down. Nice and slow, nice and easy. Up and down. In that sawing motion, getting those shoulder blades to open up. And this also helps with rotation of the shoulder blades and the shoulder joint in general. Cleans out some of those knots. A lot of times your massage therapist will kind of dig under the scapula. This helps clean some of that out. Good. And you can uncross and then go ahead and just bring your fingertips back behind you. Roll your shoulder blades back so you're rolling that chest open, and you're just going to lean back and look up. Deep breath in. Hold here for a few seconds. Looking up slightly, letting that chest open. I'm going to turn back to face the front so you guys can see. You can stay in that position. Just take a couple deep breaths. Opening the chest here. Good, you can sit up nice and tall. Bring one hand down to the floor. The other arm goes up and over the head. Look to the elbow, deep breath in, switch to the other side, windmill over. Good, to the other side. One more time. Good, now you're gonna windmill over, bend that top elbow, look up to the elbow, and switch sides. Looking up to the elbow. One more each side, looking up. And looking up. Good, back to the center. So I'm going to use a chair to start with the pecs. I guess I didn't mention to have a chair handy. If you've got a coffee table near you, or a couch, or anything really, just move over to that. We're going to start opening up the pecs. So just situate yourself right parallel to whatever you're using, chair, coffee table, whatever, on your knees. We're going to start with the elbow at 90 degrees. You're going to put the hand down, forearm down, so you've got that 90. Come back on your knees, and you're going to drop your chest down towards the floor and then look away from the hand. Look back in, and then again look away from that bent arm, dropping that chest in. Nice deep breaths here. One more time, look away. Good, back to the center. Now we're going to change the position of the arm. We're trying to get into the pec minor, which has 3 attachments, so we're gonna hit all 3. So instead of 90, you're just gonna shift your elbow up slightly. So bringing it back down, again, dropping the chest down to the floor and then look away. You should feel this in a little bit different of a spot. Come back in, look away again. Same general area, but you might notice it overall just feels different. Looking back in, one more look away. Good, coming back in, we'll come back up, and then one more shifting up. You can also do this, I guess I should have mentioned, standing in the doorway. If you don't have a chair, you can do this against the wall. Just push the elbow into the wall instead, standing. So drop that chest to the floor, look away, back in. So we just shifted the elbow up a little bit higher. Changing that angle just a little bit more. One more look away here. Good, coming back in, and then we're switching sides. So again, you can do this standing in the doorway. So starting, the positions are 90, bring it up again. So you can use the wall. If you don't want to do this on the floor, push the chest down to the floor and turn away. Also, if you've got bad knees and kneeling just is not for you, bring the head back in and look away again. Then standing is a better option. Head comes back in, one more time, look away. And back in, good. Then we're again shifting that elbow up and repeating. So pushing that chest down towards the floor, look away. Come back in, deep breaths here, look away. One more time, look away. Good, back up and shift that last bit here. Elbow down, chest to the floor, look away. And repeat, looking away. One more time, look away. Good, come on back in. And you can get rid of the chair, move away from your coffee table or whatever it is that you're using. But we're gonna stay on all fours, so stay kneeling. If you need something underneath your knees for support, like a folded blanket or something, so the floor is not so hard, go ahead and grab that. So we're gonna do just a cat-cow, again, to warm up, get some mobility going. So you're gonna push your hands into the floor, push those shoulder blades up to round the upper back, tuck the chin. And then you're going to push through, chest towards the floor, open those shoulder blades, look up, and repeat. Push, round, tuck, and then open up through the chest, looking forward. We'll do one more here, push up, and come forward. Good. Come back to the center. You're going to take one arm, reach it up, dive it underneath the other arm, rest it on the floor at an angle going down more towards your feet. You're going to rest your head on the floor. Now you can either leave your hand here, opposite hand. You can reach it straight out and relax here. Take some deep breaths. If you want to make it a little bit harder, just gonna move my knee slightly, wrap it around the back, and look up towards the ceiling to really open the chest as well as stretch the shoulder. So this would be the ideal position because you're getting the most bang for your buck here. And nice deep breaths. Good. Nice and easy. Stay here and breathe. I'm just gonna move slightly so you guys can see a different angle for the other side. So here you are, deep breaths. When you're ready to come out, bring that opposite hand to the floor first, push back up. And then we're going to the other side. So dive that arm underneath, rest that head on the floor. So again, you can stay here with the arm, you can reach it out, or ideally, you can wrap it around the back, looking up slightly towards the ceiling, and breathing. Nice, easy, deep breaths. Hanging out here, letting everything relax. Trying to stretch that shoulder as well as open the chest. Good. I'll take a couple more deep breaths here. Good. When you're ready, bring this hand back and push back up to the center. Bring your knees together, sit back on your heels. You're gonna step one foot forward. So again, if this floor is hard and uncomfortable, scoot up here, put something underneath to help. Open your chest, make it nice and tall. You're gonna take this arm, bring it to the outside of that bent knee, turn so that your chest is facing the same direction as that bent knee. And you're going to look over the shoulder and breathe. Nice deep breath. Getting a nice little twist in the upper back. Trying to keep that mobility in the upper spine, in the thoracic spine. And when you're ready, turn the head back, take the arm out, and you're just gonna switch sides. So stepping the other foot forward, open the chest, bring that hand across, turn to the side, look back over the shoulder. And breathe. Nice and easy. Nice deep breaths. Good. Turn the head back. Reach back here. Perfect. We're going to work our way down to the floor. So you can start seated. Let me sit this way actually. So hook your hands underneath your knees. We're going to do a seated version of the cat-cow. I'm giving lots of cat-cow options here. So hooking on here, you're just going to lean back, rounding that upper back, tuck the chin. And then you're going to push through the pelvis, open the chest, look up slightly, and then repeat. Tuck and open. We'll do one more. Tuck here and open. And then you can just let yourself float on down to the floor. Squeeze the knees and rock side to side. Go ahead and grab one of your yoga blocks. If you don't have a yoga block, just a pillow or a blanket would work for now. You just want something under your head. You're gonna roll onto one side. So again, put something underneath your head just to support your neck. You're going to start with your legs stacked. If you've got pretty good mobility already, you're going to cross to stay here. If not, which most of you probably don't, just stick with stacking. And you're going to stack the hands on top of each other. So this should look vaguely familiar if you've done part one, but we're going to do a more focused, much slower version of it. So you're going to start by peeling the top arm across the body, and I want you guys to go really slow throughout this whole thing. Bring that hand down to the floor, Sweep the fingertips down towards the feet. Bring the arm back over your body and repeat. We're going to do this twice more, 2 more times, just peeling across. If you've been to stretch class before, most of my stretch classes, you know the drill on this one and you can do it at your own pace. We'll do 1 more, peel across. Maybe try sweeping the fingertips up first this time, and then back down towards the floor, back around. And now you're going to drag the fingertips ever so slowly. I cannot emphasize enough how slow I want you to go. Drag the fingertips over the head, making a circle around your body. Trying to keep the fingertips touching the floor the whole time. However, if they lift, do not force them down. They will go down as you repeat your circles. So going so slow, you guys. The slower you go, the more mobility you will gain on this one. It's not a race. You want to go slow to get the best range of motion. Nice and slow, dragging those fingertips. When you get to about here, you're going to feel tight probably regardless. If you need to sweep back and forth just in that spot for a bit, do that. But going so slow. You don't have to follow my pace, but I want your pace to be slow, whatever that looks like for you. If you were about to go into like a tennis tournament or something, then I'd maybe have you do these fast as a warm-up, but for the purposes of gaining mobility, this needs to be nice and slow. And then I want you to reverse directions with your circle. So coming up from the bottom, just seeing how that changes the stretch for you. Back around. 1 more time in that reverse direction. Good. Nice and slow. And then we're going to switch arms when you're ready. Again, go at your own pace. If that shoulder is more problematic for you, stay there. Do a couple more and then switch when you're ready. I always encourage people, listen to your body. Don't just go off of what I'm doing. If you've got one side that's more problematic, you need to spend more time on it. Stacked knees, stacked arms. So again, start with just peeling across first. Warming up the T-spine, fingertips to the floor. Sweep them nice and slow down towards the feet and across, and repeat. Peeling across, down towards the feet. We'll do 1 more. Again, all of this is at your own pace, but I want it to be slow and controlled. Maybe sweep the fingertips up this time before going down. And then here we go, we're making circles. So dragging those fingertips ever so slowly. The slower you go, the better. You can also do this entire thing standing against the wall if it's more comfortable for you. Whatever feels better, as long as you're going so slow. And repeat, dragging those fingertips. Maybe giving yourself an extra couple passes up here where it gets really tight if your fingertips come off the floor. And again. You should notice after a couple of passes, you should have a little bit more range, or it should at least feel easier. Even if you don't work your fingertips all the way to the floor, you should feel like you're getting somewhere. And if you do this regularly, you will get your fingertips to the floor. So we're gonna switch directions now. So reverse your circle. Nice and slow. One more in the reverse direction here. Nice and slow. Coming back to the center. Good, you can get rid of your block, whatever you've got for your neck, and you're just gonna roll onto your stomach. So I'm going to show you guys this stretch from a couple different angles just so that you have an idea of what is happening. So you're rolling onto your stomach here. Start propped up on your forearms, and this is, I guess, a good opportunity to just, if you can, reach out, straighten the arms, just getting a little bit of a curve in that upper back. I'll show you again here. So starting here, pushing up. If this is hard on your low back, like it's compressing your sacrum, move your hands out a little bit further so it's not so intense. Push your hips into the ground. Good. So go ahead back onto your elbows. You're going to cross, I'll switch here so you guys can see. Take one elbow, cross it under your body, bring the other one over top. And then you're just going to kind of shimmy those elbows both in towards your body, and then lower your head, forehead gently down towards the floor. So you should get a nice pull in between the shoulder blades. If you don't, try pulling your elbows away from each, or towards each other, I guess, a little bit more. So pulling in this direction with your arms, elbows, and then tucking in closer. It takes a little bit of maneuvering. And breathe. Again, if you need to pull, and sometimes you need to stay actively pulling those elbows. So where I'm pointing with my fingers, that's the direction you want to be pulling in. Forehead rested. Hopefully you can hear that. Whatever the direction I'm pointing my fingers, you want to be pulling in that direction, each arm. Then resting the forehead. Coming up, and then just switching the cross of your elbows. So I'll do it from the side here so you guys can see just a different angle. Pulling, shimmy in, forehead down towards the floor. Getting a nice stretch down that spine, through the shoulder blades, actively pulling. Good, you can lift your head when you're ready. Shimmy the forearms back, lay all the way down. You can kind of make a little pillow with your hands. Just shift the hips a little bit side to side here as a warm up. So we're gonna start by bringing one arm straight out from the body. You're going to take the opposite leg, lift it up, drop it over your body so that you're looking away from your straight hands. So you guys won't be able to probably hear me well for a second. So straight arm, lift the other leg up, bring it over the body, look to the other side, rest your head. And breathe. If you need more of a stretch, take your other hand here, I'll just flip so you guys can see, and push into the floor to give you more rotation. And breathe. And when you're ready, come back into the center. Just gonna scoot back here. So same idea as when we stretch the pecs on the chair. You're going from straight arm to 90 to up here, one at a time. So arms were straight, bend that elbow, push off. Again, using this hand to help you here, and breathe. Nice, deep breaths. Good, back to the center, lifting up slightly with that elbow, and again, pushing off. Same idea as the chair, but we're adding a little bit more T-spine work in here. Nice deep breath. Back in. One more time, shifting that elbow. Breathe, nice and easy. Come on back in, and then we're switching sides. I'm just gonna go back onto my mat here. Straight arm first, push off, and breathe. Nice deep breaths. Good, back to the center, bend that elbow, push off again. Ooh, this side is much tighter for me. This is my right side, I'm right-handed, so I do everything on this side. Just breathe here. Good, back in, shifting that elbow up, changing the angle, push off, and breathe. Good, one more shift of that elbow, and again, breathe. Whew. This is tight for me. Nice deep breaths. Good, when you're ready, return to the center. So we're going to do this on varying levels depending on how flexible you are, what kind of flexibility you have in your T-spine. So you're going to start by bending the knees, bringing the heels in towards the butt. You're going to reach your hands around, grab onto the ankles if you can. Now you can grab onto the outside of the ankles, the foot, the inside if you've got a lot of flexibility, whatever you feel is best for you. And then you're going to push whatever you've grabbed onto, your feet, your legs, into your hands, and start to lift the chest off the floor if you can. If you don't have a lot of mobility in your T-spine or just in general, this is going to be really difficult. So I would work by just doing like baby lifts here. So just opening, rolling the shoulders back. But if you've got it, push in and lift and breathe. Nice deep breaths. You can lift a little higher as you go. Good. Come on down. To relax, you can push up, do a quick child's pose. Nice deep breath there. Come on up into kneeling. So again, if you're on a hard floor, either fold up your mat or put something underneath your knees to give you a little bit more comfort. So we're going to start on our knees. You're going to step one foot forward, open the chest nice and wide. You're going to take your hands behind you, interlace your fingers. So I'll turn here so you guys can see. And then roll that chest open, pointer finger and thumbs are together. So your fingers pointing down. Roll that chest open and breathe. Nice deep breath. Ooh, my back cracked even. Good, go ahead and switch sides. Bringing that knee down, back up. If you're having trouble balancing, kind of squeeze your inner thighs together or imagine squeezing them together to help you balance. So again, hands go behind, interlace the fingers, pointer fingers together, thumbs together. Open that chest, look up slightly, and breathe. Nice deep breath. Getting a little bit of the hip flexor in because this is all the deep front net of the body. Your fascial net, that's the fascial net we're dealing with, the deep front net. And the hip flexors are included in that. Good. When you're ready, bring both knees back down. We're just going to do what would be in yoga called a half camel. We're not in yoga, so I don't care too much about the logistics, but I do want you to squeeze your glutes slightly to protect that low back. So your feet are flat here, flexed I should say, and you're just going to lean back. Bring one hand down to rest on the heels. If you can only do fingertips, that's fine. You're going to reach the other arm, sweep it across and back. Getting a nice little back bend. Again, getting into that hip flexor. So this is the deep front net. This is all connected. It all needs to be open. And then we're just going to sweep to the other side. Again, squeeze those glutes to protect that low back. Fingertips go down to the heel and reach. Breathe. Coming up gently, switching back to the other side, sweeping around. Maybe you can go a little bit further this time. Looking up slightly, kind of at your hand. Good, pushing off to the other side. And breathing. Good, pushing off, coming back up. Again, kind of coming down into a little bit of a child's pose. Just to reset the pelvis. Good, and then coming all the way down. So you can uncurl your mat here. Grab your yoga blocks, or if you don't have them, your foam roller, your bolster, your rolled up towel, whatever you've got. And maybe a blanket to get comfy. So we're just gonna end with a chest opener. So I'm gonna show you guys this in a variety of ways. I'll save the yoga blocks for last because that's my favorite, and that is the way that I'm going to finish. So if you don't have yoga blocks, if you got a foam roller, it can be longer than this. This is a shorter one, that's longer is probably better. You're gonna place it lengthwise, right along your spine. Starting kind of right at the bottom of the rib cage, I guess I would say. And if you've got a short foam roller like I do, you want something underneath your head to support it so it's not dangling. And then you're just gonna let your arms hang open and breathe. So open the chest. And breathe. And you're just going to stay here. Making sure your head is supported with something. If you don't have a foam roller but you have a bolster, set your bolster lengthwise just like this and open. If you don't have either, take a rolled up yoga mat, stick it under here. It won't give you quite the push you need, but it's better than nothing. And breathe. So if this is your setup, I want you to stay here and ignore me. If you've got yoga blocks, take them out. Same setup. Put one block right underneath the rib cage, in between the shoulder blades. The other one goes underneath your head for support. Open the arms and lay here and breathe. I like using the blocks because they really push your thoracic spine to open the chest and the sternum. Now you can either keep your knees bent here, you can straighten them if that feels okay for you. Whatever feels better. And breathe. Lots of deep breaths here. You're just trying to relax and open. So this piece I would recommend doing every day if you can. We sit in forward posture so much that the more we can get into extension, the better. And as you improve on this, maybe eventually your head will rest on the floor and you don't need a support. And maybe eventually you can even set this block up so that it's tall. For me right now, this is where I'm at. I'm a nursing mother, so I'm very rounded forward and my T-spine has just been killing me. So this stuff for me right now is more important than ever. But really all of this stuff is so, so important regardless, especially for women, as women are the ones who tend to get that dowager's hump. Nice and open. So I'm gonna come up here nice and slow. I would encourage you to stay there as long as you comfortably can. And again, do that as often as you are able. So thanks for joining me today for Preventing the Dreaded Dowager's Hump Part 2. I will maybe be adding more parts later on with more advanced exercises for people who have done this program and are feeling like, oh, you know, I could probably do something a little bit more challenging. There are lots of things you can do. This is kind of just barely touching the surface of what you need to prevent that hump and to strengthen and open. So look for that in the future, and thanks for joining.